What's going on, guys? This is Wolfman. I'm going to go over the North League after the first week of the season. Uh, just kind of go over each team in the North League and how their opening day and opening weeks went, and the players that are playing well, and just kind of go over starting rotations and lineups for each team. Haven't had any videos posted in a while. I know Wendell's had his deals, and everybody's been kind of busy, and immersion hasn't really been there. Um, so I'm gonna post a few videos maybe and see if we can get some folks. If you might enjoy it, I don't know. You might hate it. Um, so either way, we'll do some videos. I'm gonna go over the North League, like I said. I'll start from the bottom of the standings and work my way up, and that leads us to Moscow. Moscow's had a rough first week. They split with Seoul, and then got swept in a 4-game set with Las Vegas, as you can see. A couple one-run losses, but overall they got beat pretty handedly. Let's go back home here. Rotation-wise, they got Romero, who is a really good-looking pitcher. 70 stuff, 65 movement, 55 control. These ratings over here. I always like to pay attention to these top two, stamina and hold runners. Um, I always like them for them to be pretty high. I think they can make a pitcher better than, you know, like they can go into the basic pitching ratings and make them better than those if they're high. Um, Stamina, of course, you're just going to be able to pitch better for longer. And hold runners, if you let a runner on, he's not just going to be able to go from first to third on you. 45 is not terrible, but you'd like to see that higher. Same with stamina. I'd like to have my stamina in the 55, 60, 65 range. But I've got pitchers that are at 50 as well. So, you just kind of got to do with what you got. But you want to see guys with higher than that. But Romero, I mean, he's been good in the past. He'll be good. He's only 29, only making 6.5. Yeah, 6.5 over the next 3 seasons. So, good deal. I mean, 6.5 for this guy. You know, take it and run with it. He's pitched a lot of games. Led the North League in games started 3 of the past 5 seasons. But he's a good player. You got Felitti, who had a good start versus Seoul in his first start. Solid looking dude, getting up there in age. His his movement's starting to wane. Everything else is decent though. Control's actually gotten better, so I think that's one of those guys where they lose a little bit of movement on their pitches, but as they're getting older, they're a little more. I'm trying to look for the word. Crafty, I guess you could say. A little more crafty. They've grown up and can put pitches where he wants them. So it's good. It's good to see. That'll prolong his career some. Another cheap guy, 3.8. But he's only signed through the rest of this season. Alvarez, 23, young guy. If he reaches his potential, will be a decent looking dude. Again, low stamina, low hold runners. Sacrifice bunt for hit. You can basically just wipe those off because we use DHs. So, but those two are a little low. But if he reaches his potential, he'll be a decent 4. I would think. Decent 3 or 4. Van Kralingen, who is a Ruben, apparently. I don't know, someone with a little better knowledge of history. I would think of Van Kralingen was like Eastern European or German, something like that. Not a Ruben. Maybe he moved. Who knows? He's young, and he looks like he'll be a pretty decent pitcher. As you can see, his ratings over here are a little higher. Fastball, curveball are really good. And a show me changeup, which will probably get better as he ages. It's actually almost 23, but this will be his second full season in the WBL. he spent last year coming out of the bullpen where he had a 4.2 ERA. I think he'll be right around that as a starter as well. And Joyce, who's bounced around the WBL, is 31, almost 32. I don't know. It's like Doe got a good year out of him in 2049. And last year he was pretty decent out of the pen for Moscow. And he's off to a... Wait a minute. Did he really... He threw a 10.1 innings? Holy cow. This dude pitched into the 11th inning. Let's look at that game. He did. Look at that. 126 pitches in 10.1 innings. Wow. Talk about throwing it out there for your team in your first start, the first week of the season. And then, of course, Chavez and Muñiz blows it. Wow. There you go. There's his ratings. 75 stamina, 75 hold runners. Really good changeup. 10.1 innings. Wow. Sorry, my dog is... Actually, let me go let them out right quick. My dog is yanking at the door. Hold on 1 second. Alright, we're back. Still talking about Moscow. We've talked about their pitchers, their rotation. I'm not going to go into bullpen. I could pull this up. Looks like he's got some really good relief pitching here if you look at potential ratings. Yeah, some older guys. But potential ratings are really good. This is the youngest one. Really good curveball. Embarador, I guess you could say. He's Brazilian. Check out the soul patch. Nice. His bats, they're not doing so hot. Ninth in batting average, eighth in on base. Hit a couple bombs. That's why he's at the bottom of the standings, I guess. This is just not looking too good. Robles has been with Moscow forever. A little expensive, 26 million. But look at his all-star ratings. Silver Slugger awards. All-star ratings, sorry. All-star nominations. Not even nominations. I'm fumbling over my words here. But he was elected to the All-Star game 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Last time was in 2051 when he led the North League in hits. Had a 356 average. Really good season. Really good player. He'll bounce back. Wong, 18 million in salary. Well worth it for this guy in my opinion. Good power. Really good defensively. He's 30 and he's still really good defensively. Pay as a go-getter, no doubt. Yep. Really good player. Well worth the 18 million. And look at his WAR. Hasn't been under 5 since 2048. Really good player. One of the better ones in the league, probably. Waterman's leading off. I remember inquiring with Wendell about this guy. Well, no, I was inquiring with him about Donatello, I think, actually, who has dropped a little bit in his potential, but still having decent years. He's already 30 years old, good grief. But I remember looking at Waterman, too, who is really good defensively, and his bat's improved from when I was looking at him. He'll be a good player. He had a good season last season, 2.2 WAR, 278, 346, 419. If you can get that out of your center fielder, I think you'll be happy. And you could bat him anywhere in the lineup, getting those numbers. Yeah, I don't. Ooh, good defense. Like this, like that. He's older though. Starting to decline. Had a good year last year though. Struck out a lot. But really, that's all I've got with the Mules. I guess they're ownerless. I'm not sure. I don't know what Wendell's up to, but they're in need of some help. Somebody help them. Let's go up to Istanbul, who is 1-4. Not off to the start that Yankee would like for them to, although I don't know if he's tanking or if he's trying to. You never know with Yankee. What are you trying to do, Yankee? Are you trying to win or are you trying to tank this year? 1-1 versus Las Vegas, and then got swept by Kabul. So not off to the start he would like. Redbeard, really good pitcher. I mean, just ratings everywhere are solid. And he's 26, so he's in the prime of his career. Expect him to have a really good season, and he had a good start versus Las Vegas to start off. So expect him to continue to get better. For some reason, when I think of Redbeard, I think of like a 6'5", 260-pound guy, not 5'10", 175. But it is what it is. Sagan, Istanbul signed him last year. Had a bad season last season. Good start versus Las Vegas. Though this year only struck out 2, 14 ground balls though. That's good. Keep the ball on the ground. Really help out. Hercules, just a solid pitcher. It's always been solid everywhere he's been. Helsingborg, Las Vegas, False Bay, Istanbul. Doesn't matter. He's going to pitch well. It's 33. Ratings haven't dropped a ton. I don't think. Well, they're starting to, yeah. Yeah, stuff and movement starting to drop, but still solid for 33. 7.2 mil until 2054 or through 2054 player option. So depending on the season he has, he will probably go ahead and execute that player option. Stevenzy, I don't know. He's Dutch. You guys that are after the Dutch people, tell me how to say that name. Solid season last season in his first year. 20 starts, 4.01 ERA, 1.8 WAR. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Oh, whew. Man, this has been a terrible recording for my first one, but it's real. Zhang, I remember when he drafted him, best left-hander in that draft. Looks like he was done in by some errors in his game against my Bulls. Gave up 5 runs, 1 earned. Let's see. Yep, 2 errors. Well, 1 committed by himself, so I can't feel but so bad for him. Gave up 1 home run to my catcher. Solid pitcher, though. I think he'll be all right. A lot of teams aren't built to go against left-handers very well, so if you can throw 1 or 2 of those in there, you kind of switch things up and take people off their stride. Let's see. Who's having a good season? Not Tarantula so far. Off to a rough start. 2 hits and 18 at-bats. Has walked a couple times, though, so he's seeing the ball. Just got to put some grass stains on it. Who else? Ron Cooper. Oh, man, he was in my farm system. Yep, right there, 2049. Co-main athletics. Hit really well, but just never had a need for him with Lopez up at third base. But he's done well for Istanbul. That first year wasn't so great, but the last 2 years he's combined 2.6 WAR with 21 homers, 104 RBIs. Not bad, especially for those ratings. Hmm. Lee Chin, my arch nemesis. Every time I would play False Bay, he would destroy me. So, to hell with you, Lee Chin. Jeffson, his first full season. He should be a good player. He's only 21, not quite 22. Um, should have immense power. He'll hit 25 plus homers a year, I would think. The only reason it's that low is because of his 50 contact. But he'll square him up. He'll hit some homers. Decades of dominance. I'll just go ahead and show you these personality ratings. Look at that. Bam. A desire for winner. Gotta have a winner. Let's see. Who else am I going to go over? Oh, yeah. I'd be remiss to leave Istanbul without going over his best position player, Tomas Gonzalez. A really good player. Quite possibly the best overall shortstop in the game. Defense is really good. Bat is really good. Um, you're not going to get a ton better than that. I haven't looked through the shortstops in the league to see, but I don't think you're going to get much better than him. I like him a lot. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, that's why he's down in the standings right now. Had a bad week. Bullpen did well, top half of the league in that, but everything else he's down towards the bottom. So I'm sure they'll turn it around. Van Aken, the Tarantula's not going to bat 111. Decorates isn't going to be 158. Um, those guys will hit. They'll end up starting to hit. And his pitching, he's got solid pitching, so I think he'll be okay. He won't finish there, I don't think. Could be wrong though. North League's strong. North League's really strong, but I don't think he'll finish next to last. Let's go up to Berlin, the Bomber Bears. I've always loved this logo. Just something about a bear carrying a bomb. I don't know. It's fantastic. Let's go through. Well, let's look at the schedule first. They are 1-4. Swept in a 2-game set by Lisbon. 2 one-run losses. Ouch. Oh, wait. All 4 of his losses are one-run losses. And his win was a one-run win. So he's been in 5 one-run games. Hey, man, you keep them close, you'll start winning them. Yeah. Oh, ow. You're up 5-0 going to the ninth. You think you're going to walk out with a win. But when you got a guy that has a 135 ERA afterwards, you know what happened. Hell of a start for Parker Gordon, though. Lisbon's got a good lineup. Hold him to 2 hits and 1 walk through 8. Solid. It's a tough start, though, for him. Being that many close games. Your starter ERA is first in the North League. Second in homers, fourth in runs scored. You expect to be a little better in 1-4. I understand your pain. Rutgers Mike. Zombie. First season in the WBO. Solid looking player. Yeah, good contact, good gap. Not going to strike out much, not going to walk a ton. Reminds me of that guy that Doe used to have, but I think he traded him. I can't remember his name now. But he wouldn't. I think he's got like 80 avoid Ks. I cannot remember that guy's damn name. But anyways, kind of reminds me of him. It's gonna hit for decent average. On base isn't going to be extraordinarily high, but he's going to put the ball in play. So you need those kind of guys. Air's a little low for a center fielder. Range, 65 will do. You like for it to be 70, but 65 will do. But the air is a little low, but he'll do. He'll pass. Roberge, good-looking player, good-looking young player. Hate that his eye's that low. I've got Tony Gonzalez's eyes that low, and I can't stand it. But look at those running ratings. Man, he's got the green light every time he gets on base. Good defensively. Could play shortstop, third base. Probably more third base than shortstop. He'd be, as you can see, 75 at third base. He would be Gold Glove, perennial Gold Glove winner at third base. But only thing that keeps me away from shortstop is if that range was 5 higher and that turn double play was at least 5 higher. I always like my turn double play to be higher, but middle infield, turn double play can be important. But his bat and his running ratings, you're not going to be able to keep him off the field. So wherever you play him, he'll be fine. Funk, of course. Berlin, home of the Gremlin. His bat speaks for itself. It's really good. 5-star player. Never needs to step foot defensively on the field, but in the batter's box, he's dynamite. Let's see. Re-signed Aguilar. Immense power. Getting older, but he still got it. Let's see. Nobody down here is really hitting well. Delgado, he's playing short. See, now he's playing shortstop. His range is less than the guy he's got playing third base. But he does have better turn double play, so I don't know. Everybody's got different ways they want to go about it. It's cool. Chavez, not much going on at catcher there. In the games he's been in so far, you would expect him to be much better than 1-4, but he's kept him close. Talked about Parker Gordon, really good player. 27 and signed to a 2.8 salary through the next 3 seasons. Yeah, that's really good. He's been solid. Not great, but solid. His rookie season was his best, which sometimes happens. I've had batters whose rookie seasons were their best, though he's had higher WAR seasons than that season. But pitcher WAR. I believe the rest of his rotation leaves a good bit to be desired. There's just not a whole lot there. But his starter's ERA is first after the first week, so I don't know. He's got some help coming. Quasimodo here is going to be a really good pitcher. Really, really, really good if he reaches OSA's projections for him. My scout's a little lower on him, but he's 18. He's going to change a lot. And his personality's not the greatest, so not sure where he's going to go, but hopefully for Mike, he turns out good. Off to a good start this season. Really good start. 2 strong starts. And he's got more starting pitching coming up through his prospects, so he's got some replacements coming, but he needs a little help right now. In the long run, I think. They did well the first week, but in the long run, I think he's going to need a little help there if he wants to compete for a playoff spot. Let's see. Lisbon. He's got a 6-man rotation set, but he's only got 5 starters going, so might want to get that fixed. Lineups, he's got really good players. Let's look at the rotation. Well, let's look at his schedule first. How did you become 2-3? Here's how. Took 2 1-run games against Berlin, then got swept by Dublin. Good job, Brad. Let's see. Fernandez, really good pitcher. Signed 7.5. Well, nope. He just got an extension. $14 million per year through 5 years. 14 mil for this guy. Yeah, I'd say He's 26, so he'll have him through age 31. I mean, his last 2 years speak for themselves. You can look at his ratings or whatever, but 2.23 ERA, 2.41. Led the league both seasons. So I mean, he's a stud. Puts in long hours, so obviously, yeah, high work ethic. He's gonna work for it. You don't really have to worry about him dropping off much unless he gets injured. Dupas, I always like Dupas. Uh, yeah, I mean he's had solid seasons. Just been solid, like the stash. Antonissen, I've always liked Antonissen back when he was with False Bay. He always seemed to have good games against Kabul. Um, yeah, I mean he signed him 6.5 for the next 4 years. Well, 5 years, including 2053, I guess. Hopefully he'll pitch well for him. I think his stuff started. No decline. Controls actually skyrocketed, which is good. You can extend your career doing that if he can pinpoint where those pitches are going, even if they're not as good as they used to be. If he knows where they're going. Piranha, not much to say about him. I mean, look at him. Um, I expect that to continue to be down in the low threes, upper twos, mid twos. No reason for it not to be, except for that stamina and hold runners. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I like those to be a little higher, but not much you can really say about him. Fly ball tendency, so he's going to give up some bombs, as you can see. 32, 20, 25. As long as nobody's on base, you know, you can give up a couple. And one more thing I saw before clicking out. His defense. He basically falls off the mound every time the ball's hit to him. Luckily, we do not live in a bunting league, really. Not many people bunt, so he's not going to have to field that position very much, but his shoestrings are basically tied together. Ramos, not much out of a number 5, but he's got really good pitchers 1 through 4. So this guy's an Iron Man, max stamina, max hold runners. If you're going to have a number 5 that's going to be cheap, $1 million a year, you want an Iron Man with max stamina. He's going to take up pitch. He's going to pitch innings, you know. So good call there, Sean. Bats, got some really good bats. Montgomery picked him up from False Bay. Signed him to an extension for a shit ton of money. If you think he's going to be your second baseman for the long haul, then not a terrible signing. I mean, his WAR speaks for itself. Led the South League and all of that. But if he's going to be a DH, I don't know if $26 million a year is worth it. That's coming from me, who signed Profit to 22 million a year. No, I think it was 20.5 million a year as a DH. So live and learn. Macias, he's playing shortstop for him. Is that where I saw him starting? Yep. I'd like my shortstop to have a little more range, but he's on track for a 9.2 WAR year. So he's off to a good start. But I don't know. Defensively, that's more of a second baseman for me. But you got Montgomery. He's got to play him somewhere. And Muad, the Iranian. Not a bad player. Not going to hit many extra base hits, but I mean, he was almost a 1 WAR guy last year for Dublin. Hitting 19 bombs. Going to strike out a good bit. Not going to walk a ton. Not going to hit many in the gaps. But he'll hit singles and homers. Nutball. There you go. Good player. Good defensively in the corners. Yeah, I mean he's just a solid overall player. He's going to be a 3.5 plus WAR guy a year, I think, for the rest of for the rest of his prime career here. He's 26, so he's entered it. I think Lisbon has a really big outfield. Yeah, 413, 415 to the gaps, 435 to straight away. Um, so they've got some guys with some really big range out in their outfield. I would switch. I really love Rivera. He's a really good-looking guy. Um, Look at those triples. Good grief. Uses that speed well. Man, gonna cover. See, he's got him starting in right field. I would have him in center. Nutball in right, and he's got him in left, and Lips in left, and he's got him in center. I mean, it works for him, obviously. You know, he's only been to the World Series the past 2 seasons, so who am I to say what I would do? Bruni, yeah, solid first baseman. Gonna hit some bombs. Average is gonna be decent, 260s, 270s, 280s. So not a bad guy there. And Carter Gibson, not bad. And Borthwick, yeah, average. Could get by with that kind of catcher down at the bottom of your lineup. All in all, not bad team. Should battle all season for playoff spot, and then once you get in the playoffs, you never know. You know, ride the momentum, see what happens. Amsterdam, 2-3, split with Dublin. Took 1 of 3 versus Seoul. Always got one of the most talented lineups. Look at those potential ratings. Look at that. Look at the contact, the power. I mean, the eye, gaze. You just fielding. I mean, you take the position players. They probably got the most talent in the league. Um, it's the pitching that's struggling a little bit. You know, they got Jarvis Harvest back here holding it down at the end of the bullpen, and he's been really good. Starting pitching, though, has not been, I don't know. Once OU stopped paying attention as much as he used to, I just don't think he's really put a lot into his starting pitching. But he's got some talent. I mean, Pendragon hasn't pitched to what OU would hope, I'm sure. You know, his first and second year were really good. Last year and so far this year, not so much. Especially when he squared off with Sam Young, who he was traded for. Sam Young kind of dominated that game. Goody, not a bad pitcher. You know, he's got good control, good movement. He's going to keep the ball on the ground. He should pitch well for Amsterdam. Had a not so great 6 starts. Actually, had a bad last season. Wasn't good in Helsingborg and took that on to Amsterdam. Still 2.5 WAR. Pitcher WAR. Cliff Potter. 360 potential pitches. I don't know if that changeup's going to reach it. He's only 22, so it's still got time, but 35 out of 60 at 22, it's going to have to start climbing. Good stamina, good hold runners. Team leader, good work ethic. So, you know, even if he doesn't pitch as well as OU would like, he's still bringing some stuff to the table. Skeet Burger. Yeah. Not much there. I mean, he's gonna pitch innings and hope that Amsterdam can outscore the rest of the other team. Same with Javi here. A lot of pitches, nothing overwhelming. and he's going to get a bunch of his starts skipped since he's got it on highest rested on occasion. Uh, as I said, the offense, they only eighth in runs scored, so I'm sure that he expects better, especially with third in batting average and second in on base percentage. And that will be better. That will be the run. He'll score more runs. That's going to be better. He's not going to be 2-3 the whole season. But I mean, just look at these guys. Mostert Tiger leading off. I mean, just contact, power, eye. You know, he's a stud. Look at these. All these highlighted in yellow means he led the league. Just insane. Shocker Gutierrez, 24 years old. Good center fielder. Really strong center fielder. 24 years old. This is his 5th season in the league. Off to a really good start, too. Hamid, what more needs to be said? He's basically a home run machine. Led the North League in home runs 4 out of the last 5 years. And the one year he didn't was the year that OU was trying him at catcher. And he is not a catcher anymore. Really, he was a DH from the start. But I think OU just wanted to try it. And he was still, 285, 339, 3.1 WAR. He wasn't terrible, but he just kind of lost some of his power, which happens when you go from catcher to DH and vice versa. Strikeout machine, but he's going to hit bombs and he's going to drive in runs. He will probably take over, let's see, career stats. 410 homers already. He's 30 years old and he plays DH, so he's got another, let's see, he's been playing, this will be his 11th full season. I mean, he's probably, he's got a good 200 more homers in him at least. I'm not sure what the WBL record is in home runs, but he will probably set it. And you got Carrier, who at 32 has hit 515 home runs. So if Hamid's going to catch somebody, it's going to be Carrier, because he's still got some time to go too. Look at all those awards up there. Good grief. Only one ring. He won with Amsterdam in 2049, but I mean, you name it, he's got it otherwise. And I mean, he's just, he's a stud. If Hamid doesn't set the home run record, this guy will. McBride, great all-around third baseman. Bat's really good. I think he got injured last season. Twice. Wow. Injured his hamstring. He's out for 7 weeks in March. Came back and broke a bone in his elbow and was out for 7 months. So, missed basically the entire last season. But he's started pretty hot so far. 368, 429, 421 slash. 2 walks. No homers yet, but he'll get there. Gaia, really good catcher. Up there with Pei Wei Wong. It's one of the better ones. This guy's a little younger, though. Luke Gwilt. When I was talking about Tomas Gonzalez as being the best shortstop, this guy probably passes him. And he's only 24 years old. He's in his third. This will be his third full season, and he is really freaking good. He's a plotter on the base paths, but defensively, offensively, not going to get much better at shortstop. That's why he's 5 stars. I mean, this is 7, 8, 9 in his lineup. So that's what you're dealing with here. Gallardo, really, decent bat. And Alonso, who at age 35, I mean, probably if there was a Amsterdam Hall of Fame, this guy would be number 1 on the list. I mean, he's just been, the quintessential tulip. 380 homers, 309 career average, 80.5 total WAR, 481 doubles. I mean, he's led the league in hits 3 times. First time was when he was 23. Last time was when he was 32. Led the league in average 3 times. First time was when he was 20. Last time was when he was 32. I mean, you just stud. But his time has started to come, I believe. You could see he dropped off in average in 2051. Really dropped off in everything last year. And this year, we'll see. His ratings are abysmal. But Amsterdam, another team that should be bidding for a playoff spot. Dublin. Let's see, where were they at schedule-wise? Split with Amsterdam, lost 2 to Helsingborg, and swept Lisbon. So, good start for Red Pants. Pitching, Sam Young, who he got from OU in Amsterdam in a trade for the Pendragon. I believe, was it a straight-up trade with Pendragon? No. Oh, wait, yes. Well, it wasn't straight up, but man, he made out like a bandit on this one. He got his starting catcher, Young, and Juarez, who he traded to the Riggers for. Oh, I'm sorry. Traded to Helsingborg, I guess, in exchange for a couple guys who I'm guessing he might have on his roster. Either way, though, I mean, just getting Young out of the deal. I think Young, the potential's there to be a better pitcher than Pendragon. Goodwin, eh, he's been solid over his career, but he's getting old. 37, $8 million a year for the next 2 seasons. I don't know about that. But I'm pretty sure that was one of that was one of Lloyd's uh, salary dumps that made the news. Cotty, not much there. Good knuckle curve, good splitter, keep the ball on the ground. But he hasn't really had much of a career, so to speak. Maybe Dublin will. Maybe he'll, find his way at age 30. Gamble, I like the movement. And he's got 3 good pitches, 360s. I love sinker ballers. This is a good guy. I like him. Round 2, 26 overall pick in round 2. That's, for a guy that looks like this, that's a pretty late pick. I like these ratings, as I've said. Good out of the pen last year and good first start this year, so he should be a good player. And Lee Nelson, another good player, although his stamina is low. He might be better as a relief pitcher. You can get by with 40 stamina. Usually low stamina with low hold runners, though, means relief pitcher in my eyes. But you never know. He could turn out to be pretty good. Bats wise, he's got some young guys. Alfie here, really good center fielder once he reaches his max potential. He's only 23. Moritz, really good left or right fielder, whichever one you want to put in. I'd say more left since his arm's not. I like my right fielders to have 65 plus arms, but I mean he'll do either one. Good power, good contact, good player. He'll be really good for the next 10 years probably. There's Dietrich who we got in that trade. Went over Alfie. Nobody else really stands out to me. Really good second baseman here, or third baseman too. Either one. Shortstop doesn't really have much range to go with that shortstop rating, but he could pass, I guess. He's just not going to get to much. But he's got him playing second base, so it doesn't matter. And Esteban, another former Kabul farmhand. Mr. Bravo, I remember him. There he is, co-main. 32 homers. Played really well. Just doesn't have a future on the Bulls, or didn't have a future on the Bulls, but he's off to a decent start for him there. So Dublin off to a decent start. First in runs scored, which they've played 7 games and nobody else has played more than 6. So got a little bit of a head start on that, but still, hey, if you're first, you're first. Second starter's ERA, so first in runs scored, second starter's ERA, that usually means you're doing pretty well. And he's got a winning record, and he's up in a playoff position through the first week, so keep it going. Seoul, 3-2 on the season. Took 1 from Moscow and took 2 from Amsterdam. Let's see, pitcher-wise, they've always got good pitchers. Okada, hey, what can you say? Look at those ratings. Always been a really good pitcher. I remember that 2049 season. He was just absolutely unhittable. And his BABIP was lower last year. But yeah, 1.47 ERA over 32 starts. I mean, that's just 8.4 WAR, pitcher WAR, but still, that was an insane season. Birkinshaw, this guy kind of, I mean, he's had some good seasons, no doubt. I mean, he's 3.58 his highest ERA. He just hasn't had those dominant seasons where he's in the 2 points, 2 point something ERAs. And he gives up bombs more than you would expect. But, I mean, he's still a really good pitcher, and he strikes out a shit ton of guys. I'd take him in a heartbeat. Love to have him. Carney, good little pitcher here. Good stuff. Great fastball. Good movement. Decent control. Three pitches, which is usually what you need to be a starting pitcher. Anything below that, in my eyes, is more of a reliever. But there's some guys that's used two pitch starting pitchers that have been effective. So, but still, 50 on a third pitch is more than good enough. Good little pitcher there. I like him. Esquivel, however you want to say it. Good stamina, 3 good pitches, knuckle curve, good movement, good control stuff. Not going to strike out a ton, but you can keep it on the ground. Who cares? Had a good season last season, so 29's in his prime. Expect him to continue that. Elian. Oh, if his name was only Gonzalez, would be perfect. Good little pitcher though. Great stamina, good hold runners. 60, 60, 60 potentials. 2 outstanding pitches with a show me slider. This is his first season. 22 years old, almost 23. Yeah, he'll be a good one for a while. See, like I said, always got good pitchers. Always. Seoul's always got good pitchers. Bats, Kung. Great DH. Batting ratings are just overall really good. And he's cheap through, he's still going through ARB, so he's still cheap. Let's see, who else has he got? Noda. I mean, the menace has been a menace to North League pitching for years. Great defensively, absolutely great defensively. 32 years old, still great defensively. Still great offensively too. Last year he took a little bit of dip. Hopefully he doesn't continue that and start fading. I always hate to see older guys start to fade. I mean, it happens, but I hate to see it. But we'll see. He's striking out a lot. 10 strikeouts already through 5 games this year. But still a really good player. I mean, just look at the accolades. You know he's a good player. Fat Sang. Yeah. He'll hit some bombs like he did last year, 25. It's just another reason why first basemen are so easy to come by. 283, 332, 463 at 800 OPS. Not an all-star first baseman, but 25 homers, 83 RBIs, hitting 283. You know, and you look at his ratings and you're just like, it's not, how did he do that? Oh, he's a first baseman. Probably doesn't make much sense listening to it, but it made sense coming out of my head, which usually doesn't mean much. Carlos Fuentes, age 22, almost 23. Solid defensive second baseman. Those are good ratings. Not much contact, but if that eye could get up there, combine that with the avoid Ks, you would have a guy that gets on base a shit ton. Interesting player. So that's so. Tie for first and runs against. Offense, bottom bottom playoff type level. You know, third third's where they should be. Looking at these rankings. Only 1 week, but and I'm sure Carl is looking forward to Voodoo. The Voodoo that you do. He could play anywhere in the outfield. That error you would like to come up a little bit if he's going to play center, but could still play anywhere. Really good freaking prospect. Destroying Double A right now. Should be ready in the next year. I would say next year. You could probably get him a couple at bats at the end of this year and then bring him up next year. Or if you want to hold him off a little bit since he is still young, he's not even 21 yet. You could just get him a couple at bats in spring training next year, see where his ratings lie, and go from there. But next year or the year after, most definitely. And that's Seoul. Housing Board. 4-1. Now we're up to the two teams that really did some work in the first week. Who did they beat? Let's look here. Swept Dublin in a 2-game set and took 2 of 3 versus Berlin. So let's come back. Housing Board, always one of the most talented squads. Sasha, getting up there in age, 34, still throwing really well. Another one of those low stamina starters, but he's got so many good pitches it would almost be a waste to keep him in the bullpen. I'd rather get 6 good innings out of him starting than an inning or 2 here and there. Coral, 3 really good pitches. He had a really good, he's been good since he's been brought up. So no reason to expect him not to be. Had a rough start versus Dublin, but he'll get it right. Ping, this is why he's got 6 starters on his rotation. Just because he just keeps throwing good starters out there. Funky, I would put Funky in the bullpen. Just my opinion, but I would go 5 starters, put Funky in the bullpen, and get a Brain Moran. His hold runners is low. Hate it when hold runners are low. Bat wise, he's got really good bats. Look at God. Ping Mariquin batting .565 through the first week. .565 on pace for a 17.2 WAR. Good grief. Good grief. Everybody's off the hot starts. Look at his ratings. First in everything except for runs scored. And he's only second behind Dublin because he's played 2 less games. Starters haven't been that hot, but everything else, scored so many runs that he's been able to outscore people. The Razor. Jay Britton. Who had a when he was traded to Amsterdam, I don't know what happened to him. But he came back and he's had a good couple seasons here for Helsingborg. Henny, who just, I mean, the Alchemist, he just continues to hit. He hits and hits and hits and hits. Let's see, Weber just hits homers. I mean, they're always at the top of the list for home runs. Them in Amsterdam, always up there. Um, really don't have much else as far as them. I mean, they're good. You know, they're always good. I would be remiss to leave Helsingborg without talking about Pepe Iceman Reyes, though, who just the most insane prospect I've seen in the WBL since I've joined. I mean, if you look at his OSA projections, 1, 2, 3, 470 pitches, a 65 and a 60. 80 stuff, 65 movement, 75 control. Absolutely ridiculous if he were to reach that. I mean, just ridiculous. I mean, trot him out and just throw up OW. You don't even have to play the game. My scout thinks it's a little lower, probably more realistic, honestly. But still, I mean, would be, I mean, just absolutely amazing pitcher. All those pitches. My only concern is his control. You've got all those pitches that you are, you know, I mean, he's really good at all of them already, except for his changeup. He's still working on that, but you know, his stuff's already up there. But it's harnessing that stuff and pinpointing it that he's going to have issues with, in my opinion. I hope he reaches it. I want to see what he does. I want to see it come to. I'd love to see this come to fruition because I want to see that and what the stats turn out like with that. So I hope so. Um, I'll save prospects for another video, but he's got a really good list of prospects. These first 4, 5, or 6 are really good looking players. Mostly pitchers, but still really good. And last but not least, Las Vegas and Doe, who is rocking the 4-man rotation, but he has a 5th pitcher here. So I think Doe's been out of town. So might want to get that fixed before you start tearing arms off these guys. Still though, always one of the most talented teams. Doe figures out a way usually to get talent. Naka starting to fall off a little bit, still really good. Um, by fall off, I mean his ratings are starting to drop a little bit, kind of like Kasib's, but still a really good pitcher. Still going to put up a good year, probably a good couple years. Zach Campbell, really good pitcher. Always been a really good pitcher. Will be a really good pitcher probably for the next couple years. And I mean, he's an Iron Man. He's only 30, so I would expect him to have a couple more seasons. Cliff Jackson has fallen off a cliff. He may still pitch well, but his ratings have died. And he's only 29, so that's kind of surprising, especially for an Iron Man. For an Iron Man, you know, that's, well, it happens though. Cologne, another really good pitcher. So, you know, if you're gonna win the North League, expect to see a lot of Naka, Campbell, and Cologne. And those are probably, I mean, those 3 together, Campbell, Cologne, Naka. I mean, you got 3, 4.5 star plus type guys. So you're gonna have to beat them. Good luck. Bats wise, it's got some good bats. Uh, the Piranha, really good looking guy, leading off. Not gonna strike out. Gonna see pitches. Gonna walk on occasion. Gonna hit gaps. Good leadoff hitter. Inanu, uh, he's got him in the 2 hole, I guess, just to get on base for these guys, because these guys are some. I really like Gomez, and I'm kind of rushing through these. This video is getting a little longer than I was expecting. We're at an hour now. Nobody's gonna watch this whole thing. Just hope you've slipped to your team. But Gomez, really like Gomez. Um, just a good-looking player, good-looking second baseman. Let's see, the Dean Juarez. Another good-looking player. I mean, these guys, they just hit. They've got good ratings, but they just hit. You know, most of them even hit above their ratings, really. Really good defensive outfielder. Starting off really solid with the bat this season. And Larkin, he's just defensive player. Whatever he brings with his bat, it's just icing on the cake. I mean, when you've got bats like he's got, though, what's it matter? He's got a bunch of lefties, though. Maybe you got a good left-handed pitcher that could calm him down a little bit. See, not quite as good versus lefties as righties. Did that one. Um, about the same there. Yeah, you never know. But overall, very strong team. Will be one of the top North League teams for the entire season. So there you go. That's the North League in a nutshell. I'll do a video on the South League about the same like this, and I'll do top prospects videos and international complex videos or whatever you want to see. Let me know. Alrighty, bye.